I've just released a new collection for Fallout New Vegas that aims to overhaul the gameplay and add the sort of features you might expect in a more modern title. The sort of features you might expect in, say, Fallout 4. And I do appreciate that calling Fallout 4 modern is somewhat hilarious. But I'm talking about things like sprint, the ability to hold your breath, grenade hotkeys, methods of interacting with the companions that make them easier to order around, that sort of thing. There are a whole host of mods that will improve the overall experience. However, I must point out this collection is not going to change how difficult the game is, or at least not deliberately and not in a noticeable way. It does add features like bullet time, which is a replacement for that, but what it doesn't do is it doesn't make the game more hardcore, it doesn't make it harder to survive, it doesn't make the combat more brutal. It is just more of a quality of life and modernization of the game. Things like the ability to sprint may seem like a small thing, but it actually has a big effect on how I play games like this. And I'm using the enhanced movement mod, and by default, pressing the shift key will break you into a sprint. Now you can make this a toggle function if you want, by going to the mod configuration menu, finding enhanced movement and changing the settings there. This mod also has a number of other features, for example, the ability to lean, which is very cool, and the ability to even go prone. If I hold the crouch key instead of pressing it, I go prone. This works in first and third person. One thing to note, the keys for leaning are set to Q and E, which make a lot of sense if you think about it, except the Q key, which is the right lean, also engages auto walk by default. So you will either have to change the keys for leaning in the mod configuration menu, or, as I would recommend doing, going along to controls and changing the auto move to something else, because this is something I do use on occasion, but it doesn't need to be that close at hand. The default key for holding your breath is the Alt key, and it works for any scoped weapon or the binoculars. The default key for bullet time is the X key, and it does use action points, so you will need to keep your eyes on those. And as you've probably noticed, there is now a dynamic crosshair that does change depending on which weapon you are using. This comes from the Just Mod series, and I've also enabled hit markers and hit indicators. You can turn those off if you do not like them. Those are the little things that let you know whether or not you've hit, and also which direction you are being hit from. And by default, this collection comes with loot menu enabled, so you get a Fallout 4 type quick loot menu. I love this. Some people don't. If you don't like it, again, just go to mod configuration menu, just mods, and turn off where it says enable loot menu. You can just deselect that. The collection also comes with the JIP Companion Command and Control mod, which is absolutely essential for me and is activated by pressing the C key. As you can see, this highlights one of the companions I currently have, and if I use the scroll wheel, I can change between them. If I press the middle mouse key, it then brings up all of the different commands, and I can say, right, stay far away from me. Actually, no, I've told him to stay close now, and get aggressive. I can even try and check what he's got, but I do need to be closer for that.
Just don't treat me like a pack.
Pressing the right mouse button goes back to the character select, and I can change which one I'm ordering around, and I can do things like order them to go to a certain place and just stay there. So I'm going to order Rex to go over there, and off he goes. Again, close the menu, press C to turn off command and control. Now, the mod is just as customizable as the others I've shown you. There it is. I have currently set it to toggle when pressing C. If you want to hold it instead, you can change that. One of the things I did turn off was tutorial mode. You can turn that on if you want at the start, and what that will actually do is give you nice little hints on how you can manipulate the characters, tells you what you can do, etc., depending on where you are in the menu system. And you can even set up shortcut hotkeys. I've set one hotkey. I'm going to choose that one, and the command I'm going to give it is wait here and follow. And what this will actually do is give a hotkey command to both of my followers. If I go away and I now press that key, they are both told to wait right here. If I press and hold the same key, they're told to follow me. This is a very nice feature if you just want to quickly say, hang out here, I'm going to go over here and do something dangerous and I don't want you to get killed because the AI in this game is terrible. And then, okay, I'm done. Come on, follow me. Oh, and one of the other mods that I've installed adds icons to both the world and local maps telling you where your companions are if you tell them to wait somewhere and forget where that was. The collection also includes a mod to delay all of those annoying pop-ups that appear as you exit Doc Mitchell's house telling you about the various DLC. You will now discover these more naturally as you move around the wasteland, and more importantly, they will not get in your face right at the start of the game when you're just trying to take in the view. I've also included a mod that tracks the dialogue history. This is a massively underrated mod in my opinion. Basically, it allows you to press the H key by default and it will show you all of the conversations so far, so that if you've forgotten something, you need to double check something, you can actually do that. Of course, it tracks the conversation you are currently having, but it also keeps a record. Pressing escape to go to the main menu and either clicking here or pressing the H key opens up this menu that sorts all of your conversations by date or by place. And so you can quickly and easily check a conversation you had ages ago. Once again, this mod is configurable via the mod configuration menu. I have it defaulting to unlimited numbers of entries, so it basically records everything, every conversation you have, but you can set it and say have a 500 line limit if you want to only track the recent dialogues. Honestly though, for me, I'm probably going to leave it on 0 so that it gets infinite entries. This does mean the file where the conversations are stored does get a little larger, and if you're worried about performance, you don't have to be. It only gets used when you open the dialogue history menus, and according to the mod author, it should only take a few milliseconds more if there's a lot of lines of text. Text is actually quite easy for a game like this to handle. And whilst we're here, I've also included a more modern help menu, I believe by the same mod author as the last mod. And if you press help now, it gives a far more modern looking and useful help menu. So for those of you who are new to the game, this is going to be a lot easier than the default help menu. Trust me on this. The collection also includes a couple of mods that make changing equipment a little easier. Obviously, you do have hotkeys for this, but you can run out of hotkeys pretty quickly. With this mod installed, this is Quick Select, you can press a key and hold it, use the mouse scroll wheel to scroll, and then release the key and it will equip that weapon. Whilst this menu is open, time is slowed down. I think it's moving at about 10% normal time, so you do have a second to do this in combat if you need to. Another key is available for the various medications you can take, for example a stim pack, if you want to take a stim pack quickly, and it pretty much works identically. If I need to get some mentats, I can just take some berry mentats. You can see what you're looking at. If I keep my finger on the key and I press the space bar, it will actually go to just showing me chems. If I press it again, drinks, food, books, miscellaneous, and then once again all. So you can filter down. Obviously that takes a little time, but you know, that might be useful. And there is another key for the grenades, the throwables, and indeed the mines. So if you want to suddenly light a bottle cap mine, you can basically do the same thing. There you go. This allows you to quickly change to various different implements of death and healing without constantly having to go to your Pip-Boy, because let's face it, you always end up with way more stuff than you have hotkeys. The keys I've set up for this are 9 for the various weapons, 0 for the meds, and my thinking there was basically your hotkeys end at 8, so it's a natural progression, and then the O key, which is below 9 and 0, for mines, grenades, and throwables. You can change that if you like, but not from the mod configuration menu or the settings. You will need to change a config file that's found in Gopher's gameplay and QOL collection config files called quick select INI. You'll need to edit that with a text editor of some sort, and I will leave that up to you to figure out. Check out the page for the quick select mod and the quick select throwables mod. There is also a grenade hotkey mod, and that allows you to throw a grenade without going through any of the menus. Now you can see an icon at the bottom right where I've got 5 grenades currently selected. If I press the G key, you can see the icon changes, and I've now got pulse grenades equipped. And I'm going to go back to my frag grenades. To throw the grenade, all I need to do is press and hold the F key by default. Now if you're wondering, why have you suddenly changed to third person mode? That is because by default, F, which I'm using to throw, changes the view. I personally do not like that. If, however, you do, if you like to keep the F key to change view, you will need to go along to grenade key and change the grenade throw key to whatever you prefer. I personally recommend going to settings, controls, and where it says action mapping, change view F, and just change that to something completely different, because honestly, I never use this. If I'm going to change view, I just use the middle mouse button, or I use the mouse scroll wheel to go in and out. Now, a couple of the mods included with this collection require you to activate them, and we're doing this through Stewie's Tweaks. Now, I could have included an ini file that would have done this for you, but it would overwrite any changes you have already made in the Stewie's Tweaks ini file, so I decided we'll just do this manually. It's not difficult, don't worry. Boot up the game, go to the main menu, click on settings, go to tweaks, and the first mod we're going to enable is manual reload and ammo count. So we go to search, we click on it, and then we type B, manual, well, it's already come up, manual reload. I'm going to select this. This essentially makes it so that the weapon doesn't reload once you've emptied it. You will need to press reload yourself. This prevents you getting locked into that animation of reload when really what you want to do is change weapon or run away or something. Then we want to go back up, and again, make sure you've clicked it so it's now selected. We want to go and go B, remember, weapon, right, there you go. It's ammo count memory. So the actual variable is remember weapon ammos. I'm going to spell it out for you just so you can see it. Remember weapon ammos, ammo count memory. Click on that. This allows the game to remember how many rounds you had in a weapon when you switch weapons, and when you switch back, it will have the same number. Now, that does stop you from using the little tactic of emptying your weapon, switching to another weapon, and then switching back for a quick reload. So yeah, that exploit is gone. But the important thing here is it also remembers what ammo type you used. In this game, there are a lot of different weapon ammo types, and you might have selected a really good ammo. you switch weapons, you switch back, and by default, the game forgets, and so you have to do the whole thing again. With this mod installed, you can make sure that doesn't happen. I think you can also uncheck remember ammo count if you want to keep using that exploit, but I don't, so I'm going to leave that as it is. That's one of the mods enabled. I'm going to then delete all of that back to the B. I'm now going to enable the WASD menu controls mod. This requires me to type use WASD as arrow. You can see it's already found it, but the full text is WASD as arrow keys. This allows you to use WASD inside menus instead of the arrow keys. This only works if you have a WASD key compatible user interface. You may have that already, but it doesn't matter. I would still enable this regardless, because the main reason I like this particular tweak is it allows you to use the tab key to exit menus. I'll show you what I mean in a second. And then once I've done, I can just hit back, and now I'll get this message saying you must restart the game for changes to be applied. Click OK, and then quit the game and restart. Now I'm in game. I'm going to change the ammo on this rifle to some better ammo, and then I'm going to fire off a couple of shots. I'm then going to switch to my lever action shotgun, which currently has pulse slugs loaded, which I like, so I'm just going to leave that. I'm shooting a few shots. I'm going to switch back to my rifle, and as you can see, it's still got the SWC ammo. I can't remember what that stands for, but it only has 6 loaded. In fact, if I just go all the way back down to 0, I'm then going to switch. As you can see, it's remembering the ammo and the ammo count. I have to manually reload. And now I'm in a container menu. I'm going to press the tab key and it exits. I'm going to go back in, tab, it exits. By default, the exit key here is E, which is a very odd key to use. Having it work with tab is brilliant. If I go along to the crafting menu, the exit key here is X. But again, I press tab and it exits. And this is just consistent with the Pip-Boy, which tab opens the Pip-Boy, tab closes it. And honestly, this little tweak stops me pulling my hair out. Fallout New Vegas has very inconsistent keys for menus. It's inconsistent and it's non-standard. With this one little tweak, it is now standard, convenient, and I don't need to constantly keep screaming at my keyboard trying to remember what key to press. Because yes, I generally don't like to look down here to read. I generally go off muscle memory and go, okay, it's time to leave the menu. Then I press what would have been E on a container and nothing happens. Yeah, fine. Call me an old man who can't learn new things. This little tweak is an absolute godsend. And finally, I've also included one of my own mods in this collection, the Advanced Recon Night Vision and Thermal Vision mod. And this essentially adds night vision and thermal vision to some helmets in the game by default, things like the Desert Ranger helmets, the Power Armor helmets, and it's a variable night vision that you can customize. As you can see, everything's getting a little brighter. At a certain point, you go full green night vision mode, and again, you can just turn it off. Obviously, that's way too bright for the lighting mods I'm currently using, but it also includes, if I press the M key, thermal night vision. And yes, the thermal vision to some degree lets you see through thin objects. And let me just turn that off. There are icons for this mod. If I turn Immersive HUD on and I go into thermal vision, there you go. It shows you how many batteries you've got. It uses small energy cells. I've got 150 of them. And as you can see, it counts down how much energy is currently in the headset. If you switch to night vision, it tells you what level of night vision you are currently at. If you hold the key, it turns the whole thing off. I'm going to close that. It is very customizable. If you just want the NVG, you can turn the low light steps completely off. If you do that, I've now got 3 night vision green steps. When I press the key this time, it goes straight to the green night vision. So it's completely up to you. You can also change the number of steps on the night vision green if you really want to. I mean, theoretically, you could probably just go with 1 step if that's enough for you. And there you go, on, off. Again, you can change the colour. There's tons of settings on this. You can change it to blue, you can change it to red, you can change the charge time. There is a slight blur on the night vision. You can turn that off. And there is an ocular effect. Now, this only works on devices that are set to have the ocular effect. Nothing has been included with this collection that uses that, so you won't notice that. It goes without saying that this collection is compatible with all of my other collection. In fact, you've seen me using it alongside them. In this particular case, I've got the Stability collection installed. That one I consider essential. I've got the Remaster collection to make the game look nicer. And I'm using the Darnified UI collection. Although, again, I could have used the VUI Plus collection instead of Darnified collection, and it would have worked just fine with this gameplay collection. These collections are designed to be used together. It's just up to you to decide which ones you want. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. I am going to be looking for more mods to add to this collection, and if you have suggestions, please leave them below. Like I said, this is not a collection that is overhauling the difficulty. It doesn't make the game more hardcore. But I am thinking of making a collection that does exactly that. However, that is it for this video. I hope this was useful. I hope it gives you an insight into what the collection adds and how you can customize it to your own needs. Thank you for joining me on this little tour of this collection, and a big thank you to all of the people who joined me in the stream when I was testing these mods and trying out different things. I appreciate all your input. Thank you very much. Hopefully, I will see you guys again on the next stream or the next video, whichever you decide to join me on. I look forward to seeing you there, and until then, remember, as always, have fun.